Hello, isakill. Okay, this is a video. Little tutorial for you on how to set up VirtualBox the way you want it. So I got two VMs here. These are VMs, hosted on the machine I'm recording. Yeah. So I'll show an example of this. I'm doing an ifconfig on my Kali Linux VM. It has an IP address of 192.168.0.15. Okay. Its default gateway is 192.168.0.1, which is my physical router. We have this machine, which is a Metasploitable VM, and it has an internet address of 10.0.2.15. A little different. Now, this is already configured, so I'll show you both, and I'll explain, and I'll link to it. Essentially, you want a bridged adapter. So click here, click bridged adapter, and you select your physical card that you're using. In my case, it's a wireless network adapter. So it's a Qualcomm Airthrust card. Then you hit OK. And it'll essentially bridge the connections, and then this VM will be able to talk to the internet. The internet can talk to it if you're forwarding ports, and I mean, that's pretty much it. It's pretty useful. So on this machine, let me show that this is most likely, most of your VMs are probably set in this mode by default, if I recall correctly. It's just set to NAT, which is known as network address translation, if I remember. And we don't want that. We want a bridged adapter. Select your physical, machine. Make sure cable is connected. Hit OK. It's going to save the settings. I don't believe it'll apply it. No, it will not. So we got to restart it. One thing to note, however, and this might take a good minute to, let me just get rid of this VM for the purpose. Something to note, though, since I noticed you said you want to set up a, as you call it, a hacklab, or you're just downloading vulnerable VMs and stuff to test on. I normally that means they're going to be exploitable. They're going to have, I guess, bad. Well, sorry, not bad. Out-of-date software, depending on the VM you're using. So you really want to be careful what you expose to the internet. Okay. Like this VM, for example, I have exposed to the internet. I have to. But firewall software on my router doesn't allow anyone to connect to it. Now, as you can see, it's now given a new address. It's given an address from my router. It's 192.168.0.6. Now, to test that, we're going to go. I'm just going to make sure, in case I accidentally click stop recording, I remember to start it. And I entered a really crappy default password because routers hate me. That's LAN setup. DHCP. You should see. Yep. And there we go. Obviously, if it's wireless, it's going to show up as wire. If it's depending on your host machine's network adapter. MAC address, I believe, is the same as a host machine. No. Wait. I'm sorry, what am I saying? It's a bridge connection. But don't worry about that. So, but one thing to remember, so this thing, like, let's see what I have forwarded to give you an example of why this might be a bad idea of exposing it to the internet. Okay, well, if I have a web server, well, no, because that's fine, and that's fine. If these were configured incorrectly, however, and for whatever reason the vulnerable VM had SSH on port 2222, I'd be in some serious trouble. Likewise, if it had a misconfigured web server and, you know, PHP and MySQL and all that stuff, and you can access it on port 80, you'd be in trouble. So, if you set these up, my recommendation is you do not leave them running 24/7. You use them, like, I guess, as needed when you're learning. You also want to verify in your router firewall that you don't have any ports forwarded, or if you are forwarding ports, verify that the vulnerable VMs are not using the ports that you're forwarding. Just be careful with that, because bad things will happen. And okay, this is a really quick tutorial. You got any questions, ask me. I mean, there's some more complex setups you can do, like, I guess, you know, creating a private network between two VMs so only they could communicate, but this just quickly answers your question on how it should fix it. If not, let me know.